Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales is No Perfect Movie. So in Dead Men Tell No Tales, Jack Sparrow, once again played by Johnny Depp, teams up with the son of William Turner, Henry, played by Brendan Thwaites, as well as an astronomer named Karina, played by Kaya Scodelario, because she has a map that can lead anyone to the Trident of Poseidon, which can give anyone who wields it uncontrollable power over the seas. All the while, Jack is being pursued by a former enemy of his who also wants the Trident, named Captain Salazar, played by Javier Bardem. The directing team Roenberg, whose real names I'm not even going to try to pronounce, have shown in their previous movie Kon-Tiki, as well as in this movie, that they're willing to film on location in the middle of the ocean in order to make the audience feel like they're sailing along with the other characters. The use of real ships and locations are filmed in gorgeous wide shots that make the scenery, as well as the action, feel a lot more tangible than most film settings. And the action sequences are just as creative and exciting as the previous entries, particularly a bank robbery where Jack's crew is literally dragging a bank through the streets of a Caribbean village, which, in all honesty, felt a lot more convincing than in Fast 5. Just saying. Johnny Depp, once again, is a lot of fun to watch as Jack Sparrow. On one hand, it is funny just to watch him constantly fail in his schemes just because of how drunk and clumsy he can occasionally be. But when he does have a concrete plan, he knows how to trick people into doing what he wants without ever having to resort to violence. In flashbacks, we actually get to see how Jack became a captain in the first place. And what I really liked about this backstory is that even back then, he knew his enemies underestimated him because of how young he was. And he used that to his advantage by tricking Salazar's army into running straight into a cursed part of the ocean while he slipped out at just the right time. And even back then, he knew how to non-violently get what he wanted by using his mind to deceive people. And Kaya Scodelario also gave a really good performance as Karina, in my opinion. A lot of people are going to watch her and just say that she's a carbon copy of Elizabeth Swann, but there are two things that I think set her apart from Elizabeth. For one, Elizabeth was born in nobility, so she kind of already knew how to negotiate with certain men and get herself out of certain situations, whereas Karina is a low-born orphan who has to start from the bottom and work her way up to the top, which is a lot more interesting for me anyways. And the other reason is that the movie makes it clear that Karina's strength is her mind, and that her knowledge of the map and the coordinates to get to the Trident are what make her superior to the other men on board the crew. Whereas I thought Elizabeth was a little more physically strong than she was emotionally or intellectually. Brendan Thwaites was alright as Henry Turner. I mean, performance-wise, he does do a good job, and his motivation for wanting to save his father from his curse is a good motivation. But he falls into the same trap that Will did, where he spends most of the movie just looking handsome and having back-and-forth moments with Karina while Jack just stands in the background and teases him. And as for Javier Bardem, who I was looking forward to the most in this movie, despite the fact that he is given a cool and creepy design, as well as a good intro that builds him up where you only see his feet, and then his mouth, and then his full face. I didn't think he was as intimidating or as much fun to watch as some of the other villains in the franchise. Geoffrey Rush was creepy, but still funny just for how over-the-top his lines and expressions were in the other movies. But here, Bardem seems like he's trying to take the role as seriously as he can, and I don't think that was the right move for him. At 2 hours and 9 minutes, this is the shortest Pirates of the Caribbean movie that we've ever had. And looking back as to why the previous movies were so long and complicated, I think there's one main reason as to why, and that's because the British Navy are always the side villains in these movies, and I have absolutely no idea why. They're not interesting at all. Their motivation is usually just to find the treasure so they can become more powerful, and that's it. And they take up a ton of screen time. And in this movie, it's no exception. Every time they popped up, I was just waiting for their scene to end. All they do is spout exposition about what they're going to do next, and there's this random witch character who shows up for like only 2 scenes just to give them these magical items that can help them on their journey. Items which I have absolutely no idea how she even got them in the first place, because a couple of these things, like Jack's compass, how did she get those things? It's like, did she cast a spell or something? They never go into detail. They just give the, I have my reasons excuse, which, that's not good enough. With Dead Man's Chest, At World's End, and On Stranger Tides, those 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies have a lot of really good and exciting moments, but on the whole I wouldn't really count any of them as good movies. Dead Men Tell No Tales is the first film since Curse of the Black Pearl that's consistently entertaining from beginning to end, and that's thanks to the performances of the cast, the action sequences, and just how practical the atmosphere is due to the use of real locations, sets, and ships. And for that reason, I'm going to give Dead Men Tell No Tales a 3.5 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews at NoPerfectMovie.com. And once again, thank you all very much for watching. Take care.